Welcome, everybody, to MLS Next Pro Soccer on MLSNextPro.com. We've got a big matchup coming for you here Friday night, the final regular season match between Minnesota United 2 and Tacoma Defiance. It could be a playoff preview. It was a 4-4 stunner in the previous match, and we're hoping for something similar here at the Blaine Soccer Stadium as we take a look at our standings here for this Minnesota team. As we take a look at our starting lineups, they come in a very stable group under Cameron Knowles. Not a ton of changes, but no Cameron Dunbar in this game. So Malik Khan and Zayden Bello will carry the attack themselves. Jeremy Rodas returning in that center back spot, just 19 years old on loan, but has been massive for this team alongside Britton Fisher. On the flip side, for this Tacoma team, will look more like five in the back with Ethan Dablier as the right wing back and Blake Bowen as the left wing back, but some big names in this team, as you can see. Reed Baker-Whiting coming off his appearance for the Seattle Sounders last week. He comes into the team. Josh Atencio, and yes, Javier Arriaga makes his Tacoma Defiance career debut in this one. At 28 years old, Ecuadorian full international World Cup veteran. Going to be on the field as you take a look at what this means for Tacoma. Sitting in third place right now. They cannot clinch a playoff spot this weekend, but they are getting very, very close. They want to stay high in those standings with the ability to choose their opponents. Coming up for Minnesota, right on the line, Cameron Knowles said, "This is what we worked for. This is where we wanted to be. An opportunity to control our own destiny, an opportunity to decide what our season will look like. And it's not going to be easy down the road." They go to San Jose, they play Austin, they play SKC again, and they finish at the #1 team in the league, Colorado. So every home game will be massive for this Minnesota team, and that means a chance to try and get some vengeance. Tacoma, a 4-2 shootout victory after a 4-4 result in the first matchup all the way back on May 14th. A lot of fours in there as it was a wild game. A goal in the 8th minute and then again in the 91st minute as Alex Beller gets ready to get us started here. Christian Little, Maggie Short, and Brian Wood, the assistant referees, and fourth official. Minnesota in their gray kits, getting ready to kick off, going right to left on your screens. Tacoma Defiance in their white kits with the black numbers going left to right on your monitors. As this one's played and we are ready to go. Cedric Gabo and Zayden Bello in that central midfield alongside Malik Khan. They have been one of, if not the strengths of this team. Gabo, a young player out of Cote d'Ivoire. Bello out of Australia. Nick Richardson getting the start today at right back, which has been a bit of a rotating position. We saw Collis Leatherman play there early in the season. We've seen Mikael Marquez, Swedish international, play there more recently. Marquez injured, so an opportunity for Richardson to get back into the team for his 9th start of the year. Big switch attempted there early from Bello, but Richardson not able to keep it in play. So as I said, 8th minute goal to open things up from Bradilio Rodriguez in the opening match between these two teams. Rory O'Driscoll, who's on the bench here today, with the equalizer in the 91st minute. Reed Baker-Whiting to throw it back in, the 18-year-old. 14 minutes against Atlanta United in the previous Seattle Sounders match. This now his 7th appearance for the Tacoma Defiance this season. That one clipped over, an opportunity here. Bello charging forward, trying to cut it back for Cameron Lacey. A little bit too far. Lacey tied for the lead in goal scoring on Minnesota United with Diego Pacheco. Pacheco jumped out to an early lead, not just on his Minnesota teammates, but on the whole league. He was the Golden Boot leader for a good stretch over the first 2 months of the season. Only 1 goal since then. And Lacey catching up, but the results have still come for this Minnesota team. They are a very balanced, very even group. as well as very consistent. Cameron Knowles said to me that was a specific goal for them this year, to create a more consistent roster, as Richardson does enough to nudge the attacker off the ball and win it back. Arriaga will receive that one. Hawkins able to start on this back line, as varied a back line as you'll see in MLS Next Pro. Javier Arriaga, 28 years old, 20 caps for the Ecuadorian national team. Hal Uderitz, 23 years old in his second year as a professional. And Stuart Hawkins, just 16 years old. Those are the three center backs in this team. That ball comes over the top from Malik Khan, but too far, and it'll land at the feet of Andrew Thomas. Uderitz out of Seattle University, the captain in this group. His 22nd appearance, 20th start. Shows you how solid he has been, as Hawkins goes to the ground but wins the tackle back. Now the foul will go against Lacey, putting the pressure on there. The expectation is to see Tacoma try and control possession and knock it around. This is a Minnesota 2 team that is very comfortable hitting in transition. They're athletic, they're strong on the break. And that has been their key to success this year. A Tacoma team that likes to control games a little more. They are dangerous in transition as well, and they have sat back and taken advantage of some higher possession teams, as Paddleford now comes forward through the legs of Iwe. Now the cross played in and is immediately knocked down. So we'll get our first set piece of the game. This is not the only MLS Next Pro game on the docket here on Friday night, as this one's played in, dropped by Thomas, still alive. And now finally an opportunity to clear. DeRoma picks it up. Played back and now into the feet of Rodriguez. Rodriguez up to Daubelair. Daubelair does well to dance between a few defenders. Play it back out wide. Crown Legacy and Toronto FC2 have already kicked off here tonight as this cross comes back in. So that one's 0-0 in the 30th minute. 3 more games coming in the Western Conference later tonight. Austin FC2 against Sporting KC, which is good news for Tacoma. 2 teams around them, so someone will have to drop points. Tacoma will either stretch their lead a little further on 4th place or move a little closer to 2nd place. LAFC and Real Monarchs will face off, and the Vancouver Whitecaps and North Texas SC will face off as well. The referee prepares to get things restarted. I mentioned how tough a schedule it is to close for Minnesota. Tacoma has got a gauntlet of rivals. They'll return home after this game and host Portland Timbers next week in a Cascadia rivalry, a match against San Jose, who are a current playoff team, against Real Monarchs on the road, their final road game of the season. And then they finish on the final decision day against Vancouver's 2 team. So both their Cascadia rivals, as well as a West Coast playoff squad in San Jose to finish things off. This might be the toughest game left for Tacoma on the road at a playoff team. Fisher does enough while stumbling over there. And that one's put into the back of the net. So for the second straight matchup, an early opening goal for Tacoma. This time, it's the MLS man, Josh Atencio. Cut back behind Daubelair. Atencio first to it. That is a massive gap in this Minnesota defensive shape. To allow that one to roll from the end line all the way to the top of the 18. And Atencio does not need to be asked twice. It looked like Minangu on the assist for Tacoma. Playing with the defender on his back on that end line. His first assist of the season. So almost a picture copy of the first matchup when Rodriguez scored in the 8th minute to take the early lead for Tacoma. See how Minnesota reacts to this one. See how deep Tacoma is defending now. Pressure put on by Minnesota. Hawkins with the big clearance. Ball brought down by Minangu. And now Daubelair battling away, and Paddleford comes away with it. Paddleford, early ball up the field to Khan. Gabo now is looking for the run of Eway. Just playing a little bit too far behind. Bowen will take it over. Back to Uderitz. Now Arriaga, an elite ball-playing center back. And with a massive amount of experience. One of the things you see in MLS Next Pro, that's a ton of quality to have in the team, but has not played that often with this group. So there's the positive and the negative. You got a player like that that you could build through and rely on. Doesn't have a ton of familiarity with the movement of a lot of the players on the field. Daubelair lays it back. Roma rotates it over. Rodriguez now. He had 2 goals in that first matchup between these two teams. So he won't mind seeing the gray once again of Minnesota 2 as Rodriguez now breaks into the box. Rodriguez to the end line, pulls it back, touched by Emmings, cleared away. Big touch from the goalkeeper, Fred Emmings there. Otherwise a second tap in off a pullback. Seattle right now, Tacoma, playing exactly the way they want to. Alford stepping up to win that one away from Daubelair. Mosquera with the clearance up off the defender. Now it falls and Daubelair back in possession. Atencio goes wide. Bowen now breaking towards the box. Bowen trying to beat the defender 1v1. Richardson did enough to hold things up. Puts it out for a corner kick. Taken short. Now knocked around. Finally played in. Straight up into the air. Put back on by Mosquera away from his own box. The line now for Baker Whiting. Baker Whiting stoned by Paddleford off the Tacoma wing back. Now for the throw in. Chance once again. That one driven in. Another save by Emmings. Early start for the 19-year-old in goal. He would not have enjoyed picking that one out of the back of his net. But he has stepped up big to make sure it hasn't been two. As Atencio brimming with confidence off the back of that goal. The first of his season for Tacoma. Last appeared on August 16th for Tacoma. Before that, it was over a month, all the way back to July 3rd. So has not been a consistent part of this team, but is always at the center of everything when he does make appearances with this group. Mosquera coming back to help defensively. Juan Mosquera, a late scratch replacement for Diego Pacheco in the starting lineup. Pacheco was given on the original 11. Mosquera ending up starting in his place, so still waiting to hear word of what happened with Pacheco. Mosquera has been a Swiss Army knife for this team. He has played at both fullback spots and both wing spots. There's an opportunity for Mosquera in the box. Got all of his laces through that cross. Unfortunately, could not find a teammate at any point. Switch there from Arriaga out to Baker Whiting. Can't bring it down in play in front of his teammates. Juan Mosquera, along with Jeremy Rodas, the two players brought in on loan, just had their loans extended about 3 weeks ago. They were going to leave mid-season potentially. Instead, get the rest of the year with this group. Mosquera on loan from his native Colombia. He plays for a club called Cortulu. As a U20 in that group throughout his career. 20-year-old. He's created a lot of excitement. 2 goals, 2 assists so far this season. As I said, playing all over the field. Rodas, just 19 years old, the Honduran starting left center back, is a righty, and they will build through him consistently. He's so good on the ball. Can be a factor on both sides, and Fisher, a natural right-footed center back as well. So Rodas has become a staple of this team at that left center back spot. Just so 2-foot, he's able to play there and still be effective. Good touch there. Minnesota to break some lines. Now back through to Paddleford. Closed down by Daubelair. Devin Paddleford, a goal for Minnesota United in MLS action this year. But with some of the recent acquisitions on the MLS side, allowed him to be a consistent piece of this Minnesota 2 team. Now this is 15th start. The bulk of them coming through this summer after spending most of the early part of this season with the Major League Soccer side. The line of confrontation very deep for this Tacoma team. Now Minnesota trying to build through it as the sun sets here in Blaine. Real feel of 87 degrees, so a toasty one in Minnesota. Hotter than it's been in the Pacific Northwest. Something for Tacoma to adjust to. As I said, just their second to last away game of the season. Based off the standings right now, they'll also have a chance to host some playoff games as well. Up the line for Paddleford. Deflection falls to Rodas. Britton Fisher, just 19 years old himself. 2 teenagers at center back. As this one jumps over Arriaga and cleared away by Hawkins. Excuse me, that was Udo Duretz on the initial challenge. Cameron Lacey. He did well on the initial ball, not to give up on the play and not to bail the defender out with an unnecessary foul. Not able to do the same, though, on that second chance there. And taking a piece of Arriaga. Arriaga has not played in a competitive game since June 1st of this year. He's got 7 appearances, but only 2 starts for the Seattle Sounders this season. And this, as I said, his career debut for Tacoma. So it's been a tough season for Arriaga. Started 26 games in MLS last year. Was expected to be a big part of the Seattle Sounders setup. Has been out now for 2.5 months straight after starting the year injured. Khan now breaking into the box. Khan with a shot, it takes a deflection, and it's in the back of the net. Khan on the break. He's able to get enough power behind that one that it comes off the deflection, but still stays low enough to get under the crossbar. That is Khan's 2nd goal in 3 games. He has scored in back-to-back home games. And the young Trinidad and Tobago full international has us leveled at 1-1. Khan scored against Tacoma in that 4-4 matchup previously, so he does so once again against the Western Conference rivals. And it looked a lot like the goal against St. Louis. Driving at defenders, playing at pace with the ball at his feet. And I give him a ton of credit for that goal because, as I said, it's a clean, hard strike that comes off that deflection and doesn't go out for a corner kick, but ends up a goal. Khan once again. Khan feeling it, and that shot bouncing just wide. Mascara coming in field. It's an area that Malik Khan doesn't normally operate in as often as maybe a Cameron Dunbar as a 10. We've seen Khan in this setup sort of lined up as a second forward a ton of times. Sometimes he'll play even deeper. Doesn't really operate on the top of the box. Connecting for triangles on the wings. Or playing as a zone 14 creator. And he has that ability. Laid off here for Rodriguez. Chance now again, Emmings with the save. Menungu set someone up already, looking for his own goal. And just like we saw back in May, an open, electric match between these two teams, already 1-1, just 20 minutes in here at the Blaine Soccer Stadium. Fisher across the back line. So I painted a picture of what I thought this game would look like early on. A ton of Tacoma pressure, transition moments for Minnesota. It has been the opposite. Some of that is game states, but now Minnesota scoring, equalizing, still on the front foot. Paddleford over to Eway. Now Bello out wide for Richardson. Ball played in. Cleared away by Hawkins. Minnesota just allowed to knock it around between their center backs by this Tacoma team. You can see once it goes wide to the fullback, then Menungu comes over. He tries to cut off the back pass to the center back, which worked well right there. And that's where the pressure starts to come. This ball played through for Mascara. Mosquera with the pullback all the way through. The shot's deflected, and it will roll inches wide. What an opportunity for Cameron Lacey. And he almost hit it off. An offside placed Iwe as Iwe comes flying through. Fell down in front of the goalkeeper. It would have been a questionable one for Alex Beeler if it went in, with passive offside and interfering in front of the goalkeeper. But it did not. A wild turn of events, and we've got a corner kick. Khan serves it low, flicked on at the near post. Now back to Mosquera, and Mosquera just never got that one right. A big opportunity, close in on goal for Mosquera to try and drive that one. Not able to get his laces around it, but Minnesota continuing to be the decider in this game and control the pace. Now it is a Tacoma team with, of course, a lot of experience. Probably more difference makers on the bench as well in terms of attacking pieces. Antonio Herrera in that group, Chris Aquino as well, Nick Lietti. All options off the bench. A ton of solid pieces on the bench for Cameron Knowles and Minnesota, and CeCe Uche and Rory O'Driscoll. Outside of Masanvi, not a ton of attacking options in that group. Minnesota continuing. Prod and poke this Tacoma defense. Gabo coming forward now. Gabo clips it in, brought down by Khan. Laid off to Bello. And Bello trying to spray it out wide. It's a little bit too far for Richardson. But you don't often talk about Cedric Gabo getting touches in the attacking third. That is the way this game has gone. Khan turns it over. He's able to keep it in play. Pass a little too strong for Lacey. Get it back in by Richardson. And taken over by Bowen. Arriaga now. Back to Uderitz. Switching it out wide, but too softly hit. Mosquera takes it over. What a start to this game for Juan Mosquera, as I said. Late addition into the starting lineup. Bello, Australian native, first year in America playing professionally, just 21 years old. Cameron Knowles said he's really starting to adjust to life here, and that's allowed his soccer to flourish. Bello has been one of the bright spots of the season for this team, has played deeper as a double pivot alongside Gabo at times, higher up in sort of two attacking 8 setup. And good once again so far tonight. That's a dangerous turnover though by Minnesota. Rodriguez trying to lead the counterattack, could not link up, and now Iwe comes back and picks it up. Gabo up to Bello. Bello striding forward, out wide for Mosquera. Mosquera gets by Baker Whiting. Back to Bello. Bello now laid off to Khan. Back to Gabo. All the way switched to the far right side. And Richardson. Richardson will hold up instead of that early cross. And again, look at this Tacoma defense. Their entire shape within 40 yards of their own goal. As now Minungu out a little bit. 8th-minute goal from Josh Atencio, and 19th-minute equalizer from Khan right now. Both teams have had big chances otherwise. That one sneaks through from Fisher. Khan with the early through ball. And it's too strong for Lacey, but what an initial line-breaking pass from Britton Fisher out of that center back spot. Double there, picks it back up. Now played out wide. Baker Whiting, early cross played in. Intercepted by Paddleford. It'll be a corner kick. So that corner kick taken short now. Tacoma back into their flow of play, so a little bit wasted there off the restart opportunity. Tough tackle from Mascara coming back to help against Baker Whiting. Now possession recycled. Double there. Now Bowen. Bowen putting on the pressure, and the foul goes against him. Really ball up the line. Hawkins over to defend. Keeps it in play. Atencio supporting. Now Baker Whiting. Back to Hawkins, who recovered well. Hawkins clipped up the line, the layoff. And not a lot of space to operate. Tacoma almost were able to build out of it. And it'll be a throw in again for Minnesota. See Hawkins there. Has that Seattle Academy DNA. Trying to keep possession no matter what, keep the ball in play. It has led to a national championship and 2 Generation Adidas Cup championships for the Seattle Sounders Academies. 3, as well as, of course, a number of successful homegrowns. Obed Vargas, Josh Atencio, 2 of the biggest ones. Vargas playing a big part of the CCL win last year. We are here in Minnesota. This broadcast is presented by Alina Health, the official healthcare provider of Minnesota FC2. So United FC2 in their 2nd ever season. Looking to qualify for the postseason for the first time. As I said, coming into this game sitting in 7th place on 36 points. It is tight in the middle of the table. So anything could still happen. Just 2 points ahead of St. Louis, sitting in 8th, 3 points ahead of Vancouver. As I said, a tough schedule to close things out, but this feels like a playoff team when you watch this Minnesota group. Rodriguez gets called for being in an offside position. Emmings now will restart play. A big early performance for Fred Emmings just to keep this game at 1-0 at the time as a deficit. That's what you're looking for from your goalkeeper. It's Tacoma, 2 dangerous chances that Emmings saved, plus the cross that he got a touch to. Rodriguez swapping wings with Double Air here midway through this first half. Hawkins now stepping forward. This is where they want Baker Whiting. 1v1. A chance to attack. Paddleford defending. Now the support from Atencio. Back to Baker Whiting. Hawkins turns it over. No foul called, and now Cameron Lacey on the run. Lacey against Uderitz. Lacey trying to cut back. The cross just behind Iwe. Iwe now. His shot is blocked. Headed back across now to the feet of Bello. Iwe had a chance to pull it back into the path of Bello for an early strike. Instead tried to get off his own shot. Good pressure at the start from Lacey, but not ideal execution in transition for this Minnesota team. Bello stepping forward, but his touch a little bit too long. Atencio now. Back to DeRoma. DeRoma earned the foul, and now Gabo trying to convince the referee he gets a foul as well.
Yeah, you're gonna do like a replay, or you want me to do it right now? Okay.
Tacoma going off that short. Free kick, not able to knock it around. They earn another free kick. Roma flips that ball over the top. Nungu able to keep the ball for his team. 20 years old, getting the start at the center forward spot. It had been Paul Rothrock for most of the season here for Tacoma, getting the starts at that center forward position. He signed a first team deal on August 15th. So just a little over a week ago, as Atencio's looking for his second goal of the game. Back to Bowen. Bowen now trying to break down a set defense here in Minnesota. Atencio turns upfield once again. Atencio's ball driven in. Drop down, Rodriguez shot off of Emmings and in. What a first half. A 2-1 lead now for Tacoma. Josh Atencio's got a goal and now an assist as Brodilio Rodriguez puts away his team leading 11th goal of the season. Rodriguez scored 2 against Minnesota in their first matchup. Now he puts his team ahead once again for the second time in this first half. The former Division II College Soccer Player of the Year.
In the 36th minute, number 72, Brodilio Rodriguez.
What a moment for Wade Weber. He swapped Double Air and Rodriguez from the left and the right wings midway through this first half, and it works out perfectly as Rodriguez coming in as that second forward off the right side. Atencio's cross is able to beat the first defender. Now Tacoma with a 2-1 lead. Minnesota is going to be stewing on their opportunities at halftime if they're still trailing. They created some great chances so far since that, at the time, tying goal in this first half. Does Minnesota have an answer once again? They kept their foot on the gas after scoring the equalizer. Now, game states are going to force them to push. It's going to open up these chances for Tacoma in transition. Double was making a dangerous run off the top side. If his team was able to find the big switch. Frustration there from Daroma. 22-year-old in his second year with Tacoma in that central midfield spot, Frank Daroma. Born in Sierra Leone, raised in California. Spent some time in the Barca Residency Academy in Arizona. Now one of the big parts of MLS. Next setup. Bello turns here, lays it off. Richardson coming all the way up the field, saved by Thomas. The right back, Nick Richardson, pops up on the penalty spot. And Andrew Thomas equal to the task. Richardson did well there to transfer that ball from his right foot to his left foot. He got a ton of power in that strike. Mascara's low cross played in. Cleared away by Arriaga. Hemmings frustrated, knowing he got a touch to Rodriguez's shot, and not able to keep it out of the goal. Now Khan will come back to help his team build out of their defensive half. So a true boxing match here, a ton of back and forth, both teams landing hits. Right now it's been two big completed plays from Tacoma that are the difference. Rodriguez trying to do it once again. Transition, but Minnesota winning it back. Flick on there from Gabo. Khan there. He won that ball in the air. Questionable what the punishment will be for Hawkins as we play on. Lacey into the box. Lacey lines up his shot, and it took a deflection off Uderitz on the slide tackle. A big play there from Al Uderitz to close down Lacey on that left side. I believe Khan still on the ground as we have played all the way through that advantage. Lacey now dropping in to fill in, and Alex Beeler, our head referee for this one, will finally blow the whistle as we've got about 5 minutes left to play. Khan sitting on the ground waiting for the trainer, and it'll be interesting to see if Beeler chooses to give a punishment now to Stuart Hawkins, and he will. So a yellow card to Hawkins. Hawkins thinking about it over the course of that play. Will be fine to take a yellow. It probably wasn't a red. One of those moments where you lift your foot that high. Young player at 6'1", he's got a lot of height and length to that leg, and you never want to give the referee any option. And all he got was Khan's foot, so he had every right to go for that ball. He's timed it. So Khan now able to continue on the field. So we get confirmation of the first yellow card of the game. 8th minute goal from Josh Atencio. 19th minute equalizer from Malik Khan. 36th minute go-ahead goal once again for Tacoma from Rodilio Rodriguez, their leading scorer. 11 goals now on the year. He's played all across the attack. And if Rothrock is around less, there's going to be even more responsibility on his shoulders. Mascara now flying forward. Played across, and the clearance from Uderitz. Waiting for confirmation. It will be a throw-in. But again, Mascara getting into a dangerous area. So the big threat right now is Mascara. Down the left channel for Minnesota. Baker Whiting has gotten forward. It's left Hawkins isolated 1v1. And Mascara's been able to find the gaps both sides of Hawkins, either to get into the channel or to get down the line. It's going to have to be an adjustment for Wade Weber's side. Defending that in the second half as Daubelair finally guided off the ball by Gabo. And Rodas now will reset the play as we approach the final minute of regular time here in this first half. Stoppage time expected with 3 goals and an injury. But as I opened the show with a 4-4 draw in the previous match, and we are on our way to another one. It was only 1-1 at halftime of that game, and the second goal came in the 44th minute for Minnesota. In a span of about 30 minutes, there was 6 goals scored in the second half. And these two teams are doing it once again. Daubelair can't find Rodriguez on the layoff, but see Daubelair now dropping in centrally over the last 5 minutes. Getting some more touches on the ball. A long-time Sounder, joined the academy all the way back in 2015. Free kick to restart things for Tacoma. Arriaga, and no rush to restart things. So we get confirmation will be a minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time coming up here in this first half from Alex Beeler. It's been a straightforward game for the referee. It has been a chaotic game for these two teams, both with everything to play for on the line. Minnesota coming in as the final playoff team as we enter the final month of the season. Trying to hang on to that spot. Tacoma in 3rd place. Trying to seal a place in the playoffs. Trying to control the standings and potentially control their opponent coming up. This could be a playoff rematch this season. Mingunu gets to the end line, pulls it back. Rodriguez with the layoff. Atencio's shot is blocked, and Richardson with the clearance. Now Bello trying to break out. Arriaga stopped him. And Javier Arriaga now will pick up a yellow card. So 2 of the 3 center backs for Tacoma sitting on yellow cards. That'll be something Wade Weber is going to have to consider. How much of a risk does he want to take? He's got Elliot's Katsaros on the bench who could play in there, as well as Miglietti. Both of them could be a center back. They could also slide Josh Atencio back there and bring on Snyder Brunel in central midfield. So a few options if Coach Weber decides that's what he wants to do. Your assumption is Arriaga is here with a fairly firm minutes pre-evaluation, having not played in over 2.5 months. You'd assume both he has a cap on the minutes he can play, as well as a number that they want him to get to. If that's over 45, then the assumption is he'll come back out in the second half as the goal scorer, Khan. Gonna push things. Now he'll leave it for Iwe to take the corner kick he earned. And you see Rodas as well as Fisher coming forward, the 2 center backs, to get involved. Minnesota native Emmanuel Iwe serves it in. Drop down in the box, cleared away. Richardson goes all the way back to Emmings. And that'll be it for our first half. But a half that had everything. And these two teams putting on a proper encore after a 4-4 first ever matchup this season. As our score at the half is Tacoma leading Minnesota 2-1. The league's top team in the West, Colorado Rapids 2, made rapid improvements in this turnaround from last season. Michelle had a chance to catch up with Rapids head coach Eric Boucher. Diego Rubio having one! Diego Rubio!
We're back in the mix, a second header, and there's a second goal. It is Cabral. 11 on the season for Remy Cabral, and Colorado leads 2-0.
I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by the coach atop the West, Eric Boucher. Eric, thank you for sitting down with us.
Certainly welcome.
Now, you and I met many moons ago. There's been a drastic change for your club between when we first met and now here we are in season 2.
True.
What do you attribute that to?
And probably not possible to put a finger on one thing. If I could, I'd bottle it up and try to make something from it. But we had to learn a lot last year. We had to suffer a lot, to be fair, last year in a soccer sense. And it's interesting, I read something this morning, no kidding, that was about the struggle and what it can mean for you and how it's necessary, and we had to do plenty of that last season. So I think that carries over into what we try to create this season. We obviously had a much better lead-in this year, more organization, more preparation in terms of our preseason, and even developing our roster, and so that was significant. In fairness to the guys who are helping us get the success this year, we brought in some good personalities and good soccer players, you know, and I don't think it's possible to win without personality in the group. We have a few guys that fit into that in a pretty positive way. Remy Cabral has been really a wonderful addition, but it's hard to go again into individuals. The guys have come together quite well, and that is probably the biggest reason why we're getting some success.
Off the post and it goes in! An early goal for Colorado Rapids 2.
Part of your job is managing all of those personalities. How do you navigate the intricacies of a locker room where you're sometimes starting academy players over contracted professionals?
Well, the contract or the size of it doesn't necessarily depict the player. And we have good players, amateur and pro alike. I think the guys have an understanding also that we have different goals or multiple goals within our program and within our team. And again, that's part of what has so far made the team special. When guys see that they can win with different players on the field, they can still be supportive of the guys who are doing the job. So it's been a good mix. And to be fair, the players deserve a lion's share of the credit. They have to be the ones who are flexible.
You guys are winning, but at the end of the day, this is also a development league. So how much emphasis is put on bringing back a trophy versus getting these guys up to the first team and beyond?
A lot. Not so much the trophy, but every game we discuss winning. I think that's what players would rather have a focus on getting 3 points on the weekend than just talking about development every day. We're still pushing the players to move up levels. We still want guys to get in the first team. And yes, that is the major focus. But to make such a clear distinction between that and winning is just not something that I believe in, because I think they're best if they go hand in hand.
We're a little over halfway through the season. What's been your favorite thing so far this year?
It's been wonderful to see players and staff, I would add, believe in what we're doing, gain confidence, you know, from that belief, and then enjoy their work. When you see people happy, you know, when they're motivated to come into the work environment, a lot of good can come from that. I know there's an elite component and then the individual player component, but I really enjoy the aspect of seeing people smiling at work and willing to get after it every day. That's a part of who we are.
Well, hopefully the smiling continues for the rest of this season. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and for hopefully what is to come, a great rest of the season for you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Great to hear from Eric Boucher. The Colorado Rapids, as we said, in the playoffs, Crown Legacy as well, and New England joined them in a playoff spot last weekend. Michelle and Samara have more to recap in the Matchday Rewind.
Another week of MLS Next Pro action, another step closer to finding out who's playing in the postseason. Alongside Samara, I'm Michelle with your Matchday 23 Rewind.
We start in New England, where Revs2 joined Crown Legacy FC and Rapids2 as the third team to clinch a playoff spot. They were scoreless against Toronto FC2 after 90 minutes, but Clint PA's side ended up winning the shootout 4-1 to secure 2 points, and more importantly, a playoff spot.
Staying in the Eastern Conference, right behind Revs2 in the standings, Columbus Crew 2. Facing their in-state rival, FC Cincinnati 2, the Cappies saw 5 different players find the back of the net. One of those 5 was Patrick Buhi, who scored in his Crew 2 debut. Now the reigning MLS Next Pro champs are one step closer to clinching the playoffs, as are Huntsville City FC. Jack Collison's side made their way just above the playoff line following a timely 5-2 win over Union 2. The outstanding team effort extended their unbeaten home streak to 3 as we take a look at what is a very tight playoff race in the East. There could be a lot of movement within the playoff pecking order in the coming weeks.
Moving out to the Western Conference, Austin FC2 are currently tied in second and close to clinching a playoff spot, but they'll have to wait at least another week as they were tied at 1 at the end of regulation with Whitecaps FC2, but ultimately ended up losing the shootout 4-3. And now, just 3 points below them in the standings is Tacoma Defiance, who also found themselves tied at the end of regulation. However, they were able to defeat North Texas SC 6-5 in kicks from the penalty mark. Here's how the standings currently look in the West. As you can see, a couple of teams are close to punching their ticket, and then there are some who'll be looking over their shoulder for the remaining weeks.
One more shootout coming at you from the match day. This one courtesy of a stoppage time goal from Matthew Myers. He pulled NYCFC2 level with Chicago Fire 2 at 2 goals apiece at the end of regulation to force the shootout. Fire 2 went on to win the extra point on 5 kicks to 4, but still a late goal by Myers puts him in sole first in the Golden Boot race with 16 goals on the season. As you can see, the race is heating up as we go down the stretch.
There's still a lot to be determined as we enter Matchday 24 of the regular season. Michelle and I will see you back here with the latest drama leading to the playoffs.
Here was the very best from Matchday 23 as Michelle has this week's spotlight.
MLS Next Pro's Matchday 23 features a new set of faces in the spotlight. I'm Michelle Montaigne with the stars that shined brightest this match day. Starting with your MLS Next rising star of Matchday 23, LA Galaxy 2's Riley Delgado. The 17-year-old defender helped his side to a clean sheet against Real Monarchs and successfully converted his kick from the spot in the shootout, helping Galaxy 2 to a historic 10-9 shootout win to keep their playoff hopes alive. But the stars were also shining bright over there on the East Coast. None brighter than Huntsville City FC's Azad Liati, who is your player of Matchday 23. With his 3-goal performance against Union 2, Liati recorded the first hat-trick in club history. He extended his team-best goal total to 11, becoming the first player to double digits for his team this season. But despite his individual success, he was still focused on the team after the game.
For me, it's always special to score a hat trick, but first and foremost, we're happy to get the result. I mean, Jack Close coming in that every game from here on out to Cup Finals, so 1 down, 5 more to go, and that's how we're looking at it to make the playoffs.
Also finding the back of the net this week, our best goal of the match day winner, St. Louis City 2's John Klein. The goal-scoring machine extended his streak to 4 straight games with his brace this week against Timbers 2. This shot made its way through the box, bouncing off defenders and attacking players alike before it found its way to the foot of Klein, who lasered it through traffic and into the back of the net. And while Best Goal nominee Useni Buddha didn't win the individual award, his team, Quakes 2, is walking away as our best team of Matchday 23. Now, Buddha did open the scoring for Quakes 2 before the side let Dynamo Dos score 3 unanswered to take a 3-1 lead into the half. But the second 45 was all San Jose as Quakes 2 mounted a 3-goal comeback to ultimately take a 4-3 victory. The decisive match allowed the team of the match day to leapfrog Houston in the table and climb to 5th in the West. Congratulations to all of our honorees in the spotlight this week. As the playoff push continues, the performances continue to rise. Excited to see who stands out on match day 24.
Thank you, Michelle. Matchday 23 was a long one, including a Monday night match, as the Red Bulls got 1 step closer to clinching a playoff berth. Here are the highlights as New York hosted Atlanta United 2.
Finding Brennan. He is onside. Brennan now at the top. Here's to Mimi. That's blocked. And once again, Firmino. 14th goal ties Jack Lynn of Orlando City B for second. There's a chance and an equalizer for New York. Noah Cobb. Now a takeaway by New York. Cross deflected. Second chance. Off the head of Sabufu. Right over Shapiro Thompson. Outside the box. Carmona. Fires. Oh, off the crossbar and in. Kasule, goal! Still a chance here at the wing, and a goal!
So a big performance there for New York Red Bulls as Ibrahim Kasule continues his hot season. What a moment for the Ugandan as you take a look at the full slate coming up over the rest of this match day. As I said, this is one of just 5 matches right now here on Friday night. And then we've got a full slate coming up on Sunday, including a big one to finish things out as Portland hosts Colorado Rapids 2, but Philly trying to fight to get into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference against second-place team New England Revolution. Should be a fun one, as well as New York Red Bulls 2 and Chicago Fire 2 in the middle of the table, and Orlando City B. A bright season so far. They are the 4 or 5 goal scorer every time. So Mingunu able to get to the end line, turn his defender, pull it back. It's too far for Daubelair. And Atencio reading the play, getting it done. Atencio then on that confidence was creating a ton. Forced that save from Emmings. Malik Khan able to get his second goal of the year against Tacoma off that deflection. His second in back-to-back home games as well. And just like Atencio, he continued to push things after that. It looked like it was going to be a second goal coming for one of these two teams. It looked like it might be Minnesota here, as wide open on the pullback for Lacey. The deflection took it just wide. Missed the goal from Atencio, who worked a ton. Picked up the ball, combined down the middle, combined on the left side, eventually creates that goal for Rodriguez to put away. Richardson almost able to equalize there, forcing Thomas into the tough save. So 2 changes coming here at halftime for this Tacoma team. And as expected, with the yellow cards that were given in that first half along the back line, that we would see Miglietti in this second half. Looks like both teams ready to make a change. Miglietti coming on, has played as both a center forward and a center back throughout this season. Rory O'Driscoll coming on in place of Cedric Gabeau for this Minnesota team. O'Driscoll, a leader coming into this season for this Tacoma team. Scored, as I said, the 91st minute equalizer against Tacoma earlier in the season, one of his 2 goals for the Minneapolis native. But this now his 22nd appearance. It'll be a like-for-like change with Gabeau. We'll see if there are any other wrinkles to it for Cameron Knowles. So Miglietti, as well as Antonio Herrera coming on for this second half. That's Alex Beeler ready to get us started. Tacoma and their all-white kits on the road at Minnesota, and they're all gray kits as we are ready to roll in this second half. Ali Khan attacking there. Which of these teams is going to be able to push things in this second half? Tacoma able to play off that 1-goal lead. So it looks like it's Antonio Herrera for Ethan Dobbelair. And that'll be it for Javier Arriaga. We'll see if Stuart Hawkins swaps sides here, or if Miglietti goes like for like in at that left center back spot. You have to think 45 minutes was all that was in the cards for Arriaga. Not a sparkling appearance for him, but he's on the road back, 2.5 months out. So positive signs there for Seattle. Excuse me, it's not Miglietti coming on, it's Elias Katsaros, the one to come on in place of Arriaga at that center back spot. Katsaros, a Federal Way native, 21-year-old, out of the Sounders Academy. So 3 changes in total between the 2 teams at halftime. Of course, those do not count as a moment for these coaching staffs. 5 moves available to the teams in total over the course of this game. David Goss with you here from the Blaine Soccer Stadium on MLSNextPro.com. MLS Next Pro Matchday 24 action. An electric first half. We expect the same in the second half. Alex Beeler, our head referee for this one. Christian Little and Maggie Short, our assistant referees. Brian Wood, our 4th official. As these 2 teams face off for the final time this season, as Khan almost taking that one off the foot of Thomas. Now Bowen able to dribble through 2 defenders. Rodriguez back to Daroma. First touch here for Antonio Herrera, who had a goal in the previous matchup versus Tacoma. So he will be happy that he gets back out there on the field against this opponent. His lone goal of the season, the Tacoma Washington native. Khan able to battle through the defenders. Up to Eway. Eway just a little too strong for O'Driscoll. Minnesota be aggressive in this game, both in and out of possession. And you see the frustration from Richardson, who thought Kahn was going to press with him. Beautiful job there from Fisher, tracking Atencio all the way into midfield and winning back that long ball. Bello now up the line for Mosquera. Mosquera back to Bello. Early ball from Iwe. It lands on the far side, and Mosquera not able to do anything with it. So corner kick coming up. O'Driscoll to take it. Driven to the near post. Iwe trying to flick it on. Now Mosquera. O'Driscoll does good work to get a second cross away. And away by Uderitz. Now Padel forward. Back up the field. Bello with his arms wide open, calling for it. Now he's closed down. Kahn able to keep possession. Kahn now making the run. What an active game this has been from Malik Kahn. Driven in by Richardson. And eventually it will be a goal kick as the final touch came off Iwe. Thomas will wave his center backs forward. Thomas will choose to go long now. Well driven across midfield. It finally lands here for Herrera. DeRoma choosing to come back to his right side. To the feet of Baker Whiting. Atencio. His 6th start of the year. An MLS Next Pro for Tacoma. He has been the hub of everything, every game. This is his first goal, of course. But he has had the same effect every game as Baker Whiting's cross played in. What a job from Richardson. The fullback coming all the way across to win the initial header. He had an attacking player at full pace coming down the field. He read the danger and got back into the play. Tip of the cap to former Maryland Gatorade Player of the Year and Maryland Terrapin Nick Richardson at the right back position. Danger of head injury, so trainer comes out on the field. See, Richardson won the header. Both those players coming at full pace. So now we'll see how Alex Beeler chooses to restart things after the stoppage, and hoping Richardson is fine to continue. Beeler, fairly uneventful first half, gave away the 2 yellow cards. Otherwise, really straightforward job for him, which is what you want to see. What any referee wants in the game. Restart things. Bowen cycles it back. Katsaros to Uderitz. Now up to Rodriguez. Wide for Baker Whiting. Right off for Manungu. Manungu. To Baker Whiting. Now Baker Whiting battling Mosquera. Able to bring it down. Delford up the line. Hawkins again steps forward and he wins that initial ball. Good work there from the 16-year-old. Thomas has shown the range in his passing so far in this second half. Roma. Out wide for Bowen. Herrera not able to link up there. Coming back to the play. We've seen Herrera play as a wing back as well as a wide attacker throughout this season. Getting his feet under him in his first year with the Tacoma Defiance. Of course, an actual Tacoma native, Mexican Youth International, longtime Sounders Academy player. So Herrera knows what it means to wear this jersey, as it looks like we're going to get a yellow card here for Cameron Lacey. The signal from Alex Beeler is for persistent infringement. I can't tell if that is a team-wide persistent infringement or if it is specifically on Lacey.
Number 45, Cameron Lacey, in the 56th minute.
So Lacey picks up the yellow card. UNC Charlotte grad, his first year in the pro ranks. Has played youth internationals with Jamaica, the country of his parents, as he is from Miami. Lacey has been a bright start this season, has had a bright season for this team. He's a monster in transition. He helps trigger their press from the front. Herrera goes to work, and the slide tackle from O'Driscoll at the exact moment necessary. But Lacey, it took him a while, had to really trial with this team all the way through preseason, as Patrick Weah and Tani Oluwawashi were supposed to be starters in this group due to injuries and loans. They ended up opening up the spot at center forward, and Lacey took over. 8 goals, 2 assists now. 14 starts and 16 appearances, so a really strong year for him. He scored in the last home match against St. Louis in that 2-2 draw. It feels like he has done enough to earn a more extended look going into next year. A number of these players for Minnesota, it feels like, whether you talk about Rodas and Mosquera, who extended their loans, as Rodriguez now picks up a dangerous ball over to Jeroma. Jeroma curls it, and he finds the back of the net. Frank Jeroma. What a way to score your first goal in Tacoma Defiance colors. They had the transition moment, but he comes back and just pastes that one on the far side. Extends the lead. And that, a critical self-inflicted mistake on the turnover from this Minnesota team. So to Roma, his first goal of his professional soccer career, Sierra Leone native, Goleta, California raised.
Scoring for Tacoma.
32 appearances last year, now his 21st appearance this year. And looked like he had done it a million times before, the way he found the back of the net. Now I remind you once again Tacoma led 3-1 in their previous matchup. The game ended 4-4. We know there are more goals in this game. We know this Minnesota team has a ton of attacking threat. So this one is nowhere near over. O'Driscoll. Seen pretty much every set piece driven to that near post once again, trying to flick it on. This time falls for Richardson. The block and the clearance from the Tacoma defense. Adelford will choose to go all the way back to the feet of Emmings. Get down by Uderitz. Good work here from Tacoma, and now Bowen trying to break out. Eway comes back and defensively cleans things up. So it looks like now Gio Miglietti is ready to come on.
Tacoma checking in, number 81, Gio Miglietti. Replacing number 21, Reed Baker Whiting.
So the changes in place of Reed Baker Whiting, it's going to trigger a couple moves. Looks like Antonio Herrera is going to go over to the right wing-back spot. That might move Menungu to the wide attacking spot, with Miglietti taking over as the central attacker. The third change of the game for this Tacoma side under Wade Weber. A longtime Seattle native. Went and played in Major League Soccer for a little out of the University of Portland. Ended up coaching at his previous high school and teaching history for 10 years. As well as coaching the women's soccer program before coming back into the fold with the Seattle Sounders. Eventually the assistant and head coach of the Tacoma Defiance. Seattle, of course, one of those areas that just has a deep soccer history. The Sounders, as a franchise, have done well to tap into that rather than always looking potentially overseas at other nations' soccer history and trying to bring it in to their club. As the foul against Padelford there. He's frustrated with the call. So Minnesota preparing their next substitution. Menungu out wide for Herrera. Now Menungu, his cross played in, knocked away by Richardson. Mosquera immediately starts the counterattack. Lacey, he's got Kahn with him. They got 2v2 recovering defenders. Lacey with the shot, and it's just wide of the far post. Again, Cameron Lacey's got a defender on his heels. He had his shot blocked the first time.
Leading the game, number 46, Juan Mosquera.
This time it just rolls wide.
And entering the game, number 67, Louis Masandri.
So there is the change. That's it for Juan Mosquera. Mosquera, emergency start after warm-ups, found that Diego Pacheco, we're hearing, is slightly cautionary, a little bit of a knee, leg injury that they didn't want to risk him. So Mosquera got the start in his place. I thought it was a really good performance from him. So now Mesanvi comes in for him. Louis Mesanvi, a Lakeville, Minnesota native, as Kahn's cross played in. deflected twice and cleared away. Will be Iwe to take the corner kick. Iwe drives it to the far post and the flick on a header. So the first corner kick that wasn't taken low, driven to the near post for a flick on, ends up with an open header at the top of the 6, exactly what you're looking for. And it looked like Britton Fisher there for the second time got a look, but not able to direct it on frame. Richardson's had a big second half, winning back possession there. O'Driscoll immediately plays it into the channel. Katsaris plays it back, and Thomas under pressure with the clearance. Maybe a little bit too dangerous there from the back line, as Rodas is able to work out of 2 defenders. So Padelford now coming forward. So Minnesota will have to start taking some risks here over the final 25 or so minutes of this one, trailing by 2 goals. Bello gets to the end line, cross played in. Iwe sliding, not able to get that one directed on frame. Now Tacoma choosing to go long for Miglietti. And Rodas bringing a little bit of calm to the game once again. This was what the first half looked like for most stretches. As Tacoma dropped their line of confrontation, kept their numbers compact, especially with the early lead on the road. Minnesota was able to create chances through that. I expect they could do so once again here in the second half. Fatigue as it starts to wear on for Tacoma, forced to travel halfway across the country to Minnesota. It's Khan trying to guess at the back pass to the goalkeeper. His team does win it back, and now Khan's in a dangerous area. Up the line for Iwe. Iwe now with the defender already on the ground. Iwe working. He can now find a goal scorer. And Elias Katsaras struggling after that one. Couldn't tell if he purposely went to ground or not. And it was a slip there from Katsaras. And Iwe not able to find Khan in a sea of white jerseys there for the tap in. On the pullback. Iwe drives it to the far post. And that one can't find its way back across the box off the head of Bello. Keep an eye on Katsaras if he's able to continue here. Changes in moments still available to both coaching staffs. It's Bowen now bouncing infield. Bowen's been very composed in this game. He's done a good job breaking that initial pressure, whether it's through his pass or his dribbling. Rodriguez dropping deep to take that one over. Miglietti, if he could stay onside, he's got a tap in. And Fisher recovers to put it in to the Minnesota Knight. Herrera knew he had Miglietti if Miglietti was able to get in an onside position. Unsure from that angle if he was in the end. If not, then this is a best case scenario to earn a corner kick for a play that wouldn't have stood. Tacoma chooses to go short. Play back to the goal scorer, DeRoma. DeRoma now on his horse. Ball knocked in. Fisher with the first clearance. Given away there by Menungu. Mesanvi. Able to work away out of pressure, but O'Driscoll gives it away. And now Menungu with the attack. Back to Miglietti. Miglietti with the strike and the venom in it to the far post. Tacoma has picked their spots, and they've been lethal when they found them. Miglietti had one spot he could put that goal. And he found it with power and precision to that far post. What a strike from Miglietti. A second assist for Menungu. And a game in the first half that was end-to-end, back and forth. Equal big chances for both teams. Right now has Tacoma blowing the doors off the home team. Maybe based off the standings coming into this one, maybe based off the goals scored already this season, you could have seen this one coming, but not based off the performances. Based off the performances in that first half, it was an even game. You could argue Minnesota had outplayed Tacoma. Coming into this one, Tacoma had only scored 3 more goals on the season. Minnesota had conceded almost 10 more. So their attack's in a similar spot. So coming on is Elisa Randell, just 15 years old. Randell now making his 5th appearance since his debut on July 10th. A sub in the last 2 games after spending the whole season in the MLS Next ranks. The other substitute coming on there for Minnesota. Looks like his Romanshin, another U17 player who's been playing down in MLS Next most of the season. So the change for Tacoma. The initial goal scorer off the field in Josh Atencio. What a game for him. He continues to show with Tacoma why he is one of the most highly touted central midfielders in the United States. At times he has been stellar in MLS play as well. Other times he has struggled to find minutes. But again, Atencio with Tacoma, the best player on the field and the hub of everything that went right for his team. Coming on is Snyder Brunel, coming off his first career professional soccer goal in his previous match against North Texas, the 16-year-old. A goal and 2 assists. Has been a bright prospect in the Sounders system. Has had a bright first professional soccer season as Minnesota continues to fight here. Rodriguez. He's dropped in centrally to help his team, including create the 4th goal. Kahn wins it back. Lacey's shot is blocked. O'Driscoll with the follow-up shot, and it's cleared away. This broadcast is presented by Alina Health, official healthcare provider of MNUFC2. Alex Beeler over to try and check on the players down, and we are ready to continue. Miglietti, that's his 6th goal of the season to go with 3 assists. As I mentioned, coming out of halftime, he's played center forward and center back. Over the course of the season, he was a center forward growing up, converted to center back in college. As Randell able to create something down the right wing, finally cleared away, but now Lacey has it back, and Lacey's shot is just wide. But what a play there from the 15-year-old.
Checking in, number 80, Chris Aquino.
So Chris Aquino will be the final substitute for this Tacoma squad. He comes on for Nungu. Aquino, one of the heroes of U17 World Cup qualifying for the U.S. Out of the Sounders Academy, helped lead them to a Generation Adidas Cup victory last year against some of the top international competition. This one's played through for Lacey. Knocked away at the final second by Uderitz. As Randell drives another cross in. A big time performance so far for Elisa Randell. It's going to be a corner kick coming. That's going to mean Minnesota's going to throw their numbers forward. Played in, Thomas with the punch. Padelford had to win that header. Now Romanchin with the shot. And it's curled just wide. Romanchin, the MLS Next All-Star representative for Minnesota at All-Star Week down in DC. Earlier in the summer, got the start in that game for the Western Conference. The Western Conference ended up winning that behind the stellar performance of Mo Shore, the Seattle Sounders and Tacoma Defiance goalkeeper. Another bright prospect coming through the Seattle system. Bowen into DeRoma. Now Rodriguez. Rodriguez crosses blocked, and O'Driscoll now down on the ground. Eventually the foul called against Tacoma. Hemmings trying to go long quickly. Dell. Like he got fouled. Now the offside flag goes up against Miglietti. So we got a yellow card coming here for Britton Fisher. Fisher trying to restart things a little bit more quickly than Miglietti was allowing. Often see that happen when one team is trying to waste a little bit more of time right in front of the Tacoma bench, so causing a little bit of angst there. Crown Legacy and TFC2 in the first match of the night are on the verge of headed to penalty kicks after a 99th minute equalizer for Crown Legacy. So Austin and SKC have kicked off with this result. For the short term, Tacoma will move to second place. If SKC can take any points off Austin, they will remain in second place for the rest of the weekend. Austin could jump back over Tacoma with the right result. Either way, I think that's a positive game for Tacoma to deal with one of those teams dropping points. As I've said, it's a tough run-in for the rest of the year for Tacoma. They host Cascadia rivals Portland Timbers next Monday, or a week from Monday. They then host the 5th place team in the West in San Jose. They travel to altitude to Real Monarchs and finish off against Cascadia rival Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. So Tacoma in a fight, potentially for the first place in the Western Conference, most likely at best second place, but second place means a home game and a first chance to pick your opponent as Khan drives his shot into the side netting. And you see the frustration there from Malik Khan. His second goal in 3 games in the first half tied things at 1-1. He had a dangerous shot after that, bounce just wide. He's created a couple chances for teammates as well. That was not the finish he was looking for. He gave himself the hardest possible attempt at a finish, but potentially the only one that could end in a goal. Not able to find the back of the net there. It is going to be a tough rewatch for Emmings. And a tough night after this, as I thought he played very well in the first half, but any goalkeeper that gives up 4 goals is not going to be satisfied with the performance, including this entire Minnesota team and Minnesota back line. And the 2 chances they gave up in the first half, big mistakes that they would like to correct, but the back pass from Bello to start the second half, which pretty much gifted Tacoma the 3-1 lead and made it a 2-goal deficit. That was the backbreaker in this one. For Minnesota United, they will continue their playoff push coming out of this one. I talked about the conversation with Cameron Knowles, who said, one, this is what you play for. We came into the season, we had a goal for the first third of the season where we wanted to stand to still be in the running for the playoffs at that point. Then we reassessed, we talked as a team for the middle third. Through the summer, what was the job? What did we have to do to stay in the playoff positions? And this was the goal, to be in the playoff spots with 5 games left to play at this point of the season. For Minnesota, it's a tough close at San Jose, 5th place team in the West. Home to Austin, currently the 2nd place team. Home to Kansas City, the 4th place team. And then finishing on the road at Colorado, the #1 team in MLS Next Pro. Now, at that point, Colorado may have nothing to play for. They also might need to play hard to get themselves prepped for the playoffs, having clinched so early, as Lacey gets a strike away off the crossbar, and you see the despair for the Minnesota center forward. Lacey has used his body well. He has created the chances he's created all season throughout this game. 2 from the left side, 1 blocked, 1 that went inches wide, and that one off the crossbar. Opportunities he's put away all year. So a frustrating night for him as well as this entire Minnesota team. But as I said, they're going to have to turn things back around quickly. They control their own destiny still, even after this result, But they are going to have to play some of the best soccer of the season for them. Coming up, had a good run coming into this game, but against some maybe less impressive teams, and that is going to make things much tougher. Britton Fisher picked up a soft yellow card just a few moments ago for trying to get the ball back from Miglietti to restart play. And that is going to lead to a second yellow card there for a collision with Miglietti, and a red card shown in this one here in the 85th minute for the 19-year-old Britton Fisher, former North Carolina FC defender. Had a lot of good moments in this game, and that's going to make things tougher. Minnesota does not play Tacoma again, so he is going to be suspended for the next game against San Jose. You assume CC Uche will come into the team. But a big loss there for Minnesota, and that was the last thing Cameron Knowles wanted to see from his team. Rodriguez now. Really space to work for Tacoma in these final 5 minutes. Minnesota's still going to battle away. So it looks like O'Driscoll's going to be the one to slide in alongside Rodas, as you'd expect. Rodriguez here after Miglietti created the turnover. Rodriguez showing his quality and almost had a fifth. Rodriguez, he's got 3 goals on the year against Minnesota, trying to make it 4. And his ability to beat O'Driscoll on that first move is one of the reasons Braudilio Rodriguez has been one of the biggest names in MLS Next Pro this season. Could have a long future with the Seattle Sounders. Somehow snuck through. And now with the cross played in. Now Herrera trying to work up the line. So Tacoma get back in to the win column for the first time in 3 games. Coming off the back of the 2-2 draw at North Texas. As this one gets pulled back and Khan's shot is blocked. 3-1 loss at home against Colorado before that. Now, you're talking about the best team in the league, but Tacoma top 3, you would not expect a 3-1 home loss. But ahead of that, Tacoma knocked off KC 3-1 as well. It's going to be a welcome sign, I think a welcome feeling for this Tacoma group to have come into this game. They set the tone with an early goal. They managed the first half, I think, after that, on the road to bend but not break for Minnesota outside of the 1 goal conceded. Miglietti, just an absolute menace in the attack as Brunel was looking for his 2nd career goal in back-to-back games. Miglietti always hanging in the offside space on the far side when the ball gets played through. Forces a defender to try and catch him in case he gets ball side, but also forces you maybe to run a little bit more than you'd have to if he's going to sit in an offside position, and his physicality just makes everything a battle. As we get confirmation, it'll be a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time coming up in this one. 5 goals and a red card will do that. 8th minute opener from Atencio. 19th minute equalizer from Khan left us at 1-1. Rodriguez made it 2-1 in the 36th minute. The backbreaker was Daroma's goal in the 58th minute off a unforced error from Bello on the back pass. Rodriguez had the assist on that one after scoring the opening goal. Atencio has a goal and an assist. Manungu, 2 assists himself, including the creating the 4th goal for Miglietti. Lacey continuing to work in this one. Maybe some positives and a some amount of negatives on the tape for Minnesota as they watch this one. Tacoma now, after this game, will fire up MLS Season Pass on Apple TV to dig in for the finale of Austin SKC, as well as the other 2 West Coast games coming up tonight on MLS Next Pro. Reminder, a full slate of games coming up on Sunday to close out the Matchday 24 weekend. This one's played over the top for for Randell. Coming inside, knocked away. Lacey gets it back. Lacey with the strike off the post. And another goal here for Minnesota. It'll be Emmanuel Iwe, it looks like, off the deflection. Lacey has done enough to deserve a goal in this game. He won't get it. He's continued to push, trying to find that goal. This time he was able to beat the goalkeeper. He was able to keep it on frame, but off the post and out. And that'll be the 6th goal of the season for Iwe. 4-4 in their first matchup. This one's going to end at least 4-2. So as I said in the open, must-watch stuff between Minnesota and Tacoma in the postseason. You got to start asking the question every game we watch from here on out between 2 teams in the playoffs. Reminder, MLS Next Pro, a unique feature for the first time this year. The top teams in each conference get a bye. Then the 2nd, 3rd, and finally 4th place, where it's not much of a decision, get to choose who they will face off against in the first round of the playoffs. So as a Tacoma team with a win here that moves into 2nd place, at worst can finish the weekend in 3rd place with a decent gap into 4th. You have to ask the question, would they want to play a Minnesota in the postseason? Would they want to play a St. Louis or a San Jose, who are sitting right around the playoff line? It is going to be fascinating to watch how that plays out. As Lacey pulls that one across the face of the goal, it took a touch. And out for a corner kick. Maybe I finished this one off too quickly. Minnesota down a man now to the late red card to Britton Fisher. Driven at the near post. Iwe knocks it down. Cleared away by Tacoma. O'Driscoll can't recover. Herrera now on the ball. Herrera able to play it back out to Rodriguez. Rodriguez now with acres of space to attack. I think Tacoma would put their foot on it. Try and burn a couple seconds here, especially with Minnesota chasing down a man. Miglietti has been a huge factor coming off the bench in this game. Drew the red card, scored the 4th goal. Has been an ideal player to help see things out here in this second half. Iwe not able to control that ball. A chance to break into the box here. Jersey's all over that one to clear it away. Minnesota pushing for that goal. Be backbreaking to give up 5 in a game like this where you're going to walk away saying we know from a soccer standpoint we are close to even with that opponent. But the scoreboard won't say that to people on the outside who haven't watched. I still think when you watch this Western Conference, you feel that Minnesota is a playoff team with the performances they've put together and the quality they have on the field. They're going to have to battle away here over the final month of the season to try and make that true. September 24th, the final match day of the regular season. So in exactly 1 day, less than a month, we will know who's able to move on to the postseason. Seattle in the playoffs, Tacoma in the playoffs last year. They beat Houston in the first round before losing to St. Louis in the conference finals. And they're on their road to making it there once again. A 4-2 victory on the road for Tacoma. They've now put up 8 goals in 2 games against Minnesota United over the course of this season. And the Adidas man of the match is who else but Josh Atencio. He scored the opening goal here. Perfectly placed shot as he read that ball coming all the way through. He ended up setting up the second goal as well for Brodilio Rodriguez. And the homegrown signing for the Seattle Sounders, Josh Atencio, awarded our Adidas man of the match here from Blaine Soccer Stadium. As Tacoma goes on the road, they take a 4-2 victory. They move to second place in the Western Conference. What a night it's been. More matches coming up in MLS Next Pro. A full slate of games on Sunday. But for myself, David Goss, and everyone here with our production, thank you all for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time here at MLSNextPro.com.
This copyrighted broadcast of MLS Next Pro may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcasted without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.